So in this lecture, we will see how we program the things in MATLAB. So this time we have to see how to generate the population string, and that program we will see, and how to decode once a given once a population string is given, and how we decode the integer value of that. Okay, so we'll just see the population string part of it. Here we have, so this is decode individual, and this is population string. Okay, so in population string, if you see in MATLAB, we write this syntax function. This is output, that is individual string. Pop string is the name of the function, and the string length it takes as an input. So here we have the string length here. So the length is known, so I run a for loop. It is slightly differently put here. Made this function is made differently here, so there's no initialization. So I take it from for I is equal to 1 to string length. Then here I make random minus random, so I generate two numbers, subtract it. If that subtraction is greater than 0, then I put the string as 1. So individual string is basically a array. So individual string is equal to 1 if this is equal to greater than 0, and that if happens to be less than 0, then less than or equal to 0, then that string becomes 0. And this is end for the if part, and this is end for the for part. So in this case, you don't have to separately initialize or declare in case of matrices and arrays, and that is automatically taken. Okay, so it becomes slightly more easier in writing the program as compared to Python. So here we have you don't need to declare anything, and you can just take this as a variable value here, and this is taken as a array here, and automatically this is updated as zeros and ones. So you can see I'll just run this program on the command window, and you see how it runs. So let's say a is equal to 5, so I'll generate a string of length 5, and then let me call that string as c equal to pop string 5. Then this c should generate ones and zeros of 5, so that is what has given. So we have generated a string of length 5, and if you want to run it for several times to generate a population here, that you can do write a for loops. If you want to generate it for 5 values equal to 1 to 5. Okay, and then let me call it as di. Okay, di is the row matrix which will be generated. Okay, so that is how you put a row matrix. Okay, so ith row and ith row and columns all will be generated as like this, di0, and then you have pop string, and let's say I am generating for a string length let me keep small so that we can easily see it. So that is pop string 7-bit long, and di is generated. Okay, and I think sorry, and I have not done indexing variable, use parenthesis. Okay, there is some okay, when you do this kind of things between several languages you get normally lost. Okay, so here we have, then I'll take this. There was some mistake in the bracket. Instead of square brackets you have to use this kind of brackets. Okay, rest of the explanations are same. So this is D matrix, and that row number I is that. So I will be generating population of 5, and this is you end for here, and I think this will not run. So this is the, you can see there are 5 such populations, and each one is containing 7. I think I put 7 over there if I remember. It is generating one by one, so it was 7. So it is basically generated that. So that is how you generate population using pop string, generating several chromosome or maybe chromosome segments if you say. And then we will see how to uh, do this one, decode individual. That means I'll pass this one and it will give me a value of the individual. So decode individual is already written here. I'll just show you. So it is implemented differently what I gave you in the section in the lecture part. So function here in individual value, decode individual x. So x is the now here a array. Okay, x would be array here. X is a string of 0 and 1s, and then I calculate the string length. So string length is basically you use length function. So if you put the value of array here and find the right length, then you get the value of that, what is the length of that array as a string length. And from I to 1 to the string length, I'll starting from string length and minus. So I'm going in opposite way. My for loop is going with a -1 sign. So string length is suppose coming out to be 10, then it will start with 10, 9, 8 and so on. Okay, and then what I am doing is I am calculating a matrix Mi, which is giving me 2 raised to power I minus 1. So it will 10 etc and so on. So it is making a array of M. Okay, Mi if each one, and then what I am doing is I am taking the value of sum of x, so x itself into that those array values. So this is basically it will come out to be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and sorry 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 and up to number of bits that will be m, and you multiply this element to element. Okay, so this is dot multiplication, therefore it is dot into star. So dot multiplication between x and m, and then sum it up, you get the value of the integer value of the individual. So it is as simple as that. Same thing I wrote, but you can implement in various ways. Okay, so you have freedom of doing that. So let us check this then. So if I take one of the variables, say d5. Okay, let me first type d5 and see how much it is. D5. Okay, this is what d5 is. Now what I am doing is I am trying to run that program for decode individual. So let's say cde is equal to decode individual, and I will pass that string. D5 is one of the string. Okay, D5 colon is one of the strings out of those. So you can give independently also ones and zeros in form of string, but if it is already there, I am using that. So if you, is there a problem? Okay, oh sorry, it has to be written D. So individual, so D and a bracket over here that was missing. So D is given as a passed as a argument to decode individual, and that is what you get 93. You can calculate the value for it, the 7-bit long one, and you can see that it is running. Okay, and if you want to write a for loop for all the individuals and see how it works, so I can for I is equal to 1 to say length of d. Okay, so d up to d length it will run. So in MATLAB it takes indexes from 1. Okay, so 1 to length of d, and here now I'll write id individual value of d for ith individual. So id is now a array, should be equal to decode individual decode individual, and you can put here di. Okay, decode di. I think that is all. Should generate all of them. Uh, okay, there's some problems. So there's, but it has done up to this 5. Index in position 1 exits array bound. So I think 1 to 5. There were 5 only, alright. D is 1 to 5. 1 to length of t. So length of t is obviously 5. I don't think there is any problem over here. It has run fully. All the 5 has been done. So okay. Uh, okay then. This is how you run your program for this one, for a population. So that's that we have generated population and found its value. So I'll stop here for this.